Yo, yo. All right. Good morning, everybody. Back at it again with another week two analysis. Hope everybody's having a good Monday today. I know we got a couple more games tonight, and we'll be in tune for that too. But let's get right to it. Very interesting Sunday this past weekend, as always. But good to see y'all. Like and subscribe. All right, so let's go. A lot of shit. It would have helped if I turned the music off. All right, so let's try this again. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully y'all had a good weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the games. Now it's time to talk about everything that went down. Some serious injuries. I'm sure everybody heard that Joe Burrow is going to be out for at least 3 months. That's kind of crazy, but man, we'll get to that. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everyone's good. All right, so let's get to it. We got the Steelers versus the Seahawks. I kind of thought the Steelers would have done a little bit better. We knew their defense was kind of suspect, but giving up, 31 points to the Seahawks is kind of, not a good look. It looked like Seattle, did whatever they wanted to do. They ran the ball well. They passed the ball well. Their defense created a lot of errors. Pittsburgh even mishandled a kickoff. So I know everyone needs to iron out the kinks. It's only a week 2, but there needs to be a little more pressure on Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. I feel like when they picked up Rodgers, no one really cared. They think he's washed up, but I think within the organization, Rodgers still has something in the tank, and he needs to deliver, but also the team as a whole needs to deliver. Giving up 31 points is unacceptable, and that remains to be seen how it works out. But Rodgers, he looked okay. He didn't look too bad, but 17 to 31, 200 passing yards, okay. Rushing yards, seems like the Steelers have been lacking in the rushing department. They got 2 turnovers. They got to get it together. They are 1-1. It's still early in the season, but I don't see Seattle making a deep playoff push. So I felt like the Steelers should have kind of got them out of the way a little bit. We'll see next week how that goes. All right. So now we got the Ravens. This was kind of expected. You got just too much firepower on offense. Let me see. Let me pull up my notes here. I thought that the defense for the Browns would have held up a little bit better. I knew the Ravens were going to win, but 41 points, against the Myles Garrett-led defense, it's kind of unexpected. I was thinking maybe like 28, 10 or something like that. Lamar, 4 touchdown passes. you know, Devontae Walker, DeAndre Hopkins, they all found the end zone. Um, Devontae's caught 2 touchdowns, uh, and I mean it's just it was Baltimore showed out. Yes, it's the Browns, but you know Baltimore looked in championship form. If they can continue this, um, I mean we already know they're a high performing team, but uh, it's their defense that was the issue, as we saw last week versus the Bills. So if if they can get their defense in check and do everything they're supposed to do on that end and just hold other teams to maybe 17, 20 points, their offense can make up for it. A lot of firepower. Lamar and Henry alone is enough firepower to score at least 3 to 4 touchdowns a game. Doesn't matter who the receivers are. But they got a decent core. Nothing great as far as receiving goes, but that 1-2 punch combo on offense is always going to be potent. It's just a matter if their defense can catch up. They made light work of the Browns. It is what it is. You know what the Browns are going through. But keep an eye on the Ravens. As always, they have championship aspirations, but they got to get through Buffalo first. They got to win. They got to get through Kansas City, even though Kansas City's going through what they're going through. And the key to that is their defense. Their defense has to hold up. And then we also have to see later on in the year, when the games get serious, will Lamar make mistakes? He's done that in previous games. You guys know last year everybody wanted to blame that one tight end on the Bills for dropping, but Lamar fumbled it too. It's the same story with the Ravens, just a little more firepower, just like last year. But can they get over the hump? We'll see. All right. So, and speaking of the Bills, back to those guys. Let's see. Still getting used to the stream deck. Bear with me, but we're still getting used to it. They made light work of the Jets. Let me see. My notes are all over the place. That's another improvement I need to get on. But oh well. Let's see. So Fields did get a concussion, so that probably is why their passing yards are so low. They ran the ball well as usual. The Jets, any team led by Fields, they're going to have some good rushing yards. But he did leave. He left early. When did he leave? Let's see. Anyway, it's not relevant. Here it is. All right. So, but pretty much Tyrod Taylor, he was pretty much scoring in garbage time. So I don't know if it was the Bills defense that shut down the Jets or whatnot. But I mean, Fields only was 3 of 11. But he did leave with a concussion. Let me see, just so I can get that clear. When okay. And Buffalo, they got 2 forced fumbles. Fields was okay. So yeah, Fields left, in the fourth quarter. So he was there most of the game. So, definitely not a good look. He hasn't been this bad lately, but he's he's consistently average. But 3 of 11 after being in most of the game and then you got Tyrod Taylor coming in doing what he has to do, get some extra points when it didn't even matter. That's been the issue with Fields overall. He's been consistently average, and then he's had some pretty much bad games. So I don't know if the Jets found their quarterback. He's a good solution for right now, but if they really want to have a better future, I mean, it just seems like the Jets are always in rebuilding time. They're always rebuilding. They're always, trying to find a way. I know when they got Rodgers a couple years ago, they had the top defense. But, when they face guys like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, their defense isn't going to stop anything. So they really, really need to figure out what's going on offense. They just can't seem to get it together. And Buffalo's defense is not that great, so they had a chance to get some work in. Even maybe not win the game, but they had a chance to get some work in. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I wonder if they're going to sit out Fields next week. Who knows? But Tyrod Taylor has always been a good backup, so we'll see how that goes next week. All right. Now we got the Lions. Just last week, I was talking about how they were inconsistent and how it's pretty much now or never for the Goff Campbell combo. Let's see. I think Goff threw like 5 touchdowns. I mean, 52 points, 21 final score. They had 25 first downs, but look, it doesn't look like, the Bears offense was slouching either. I mean, 21 points is okay, it's just, and they even had good rushing yards. The 2 turnovers definitely hurt, but at the end of the day, I thought this would have been a little bit more competitive. But it seems like the Lions exploded, and they're making a statement that they want to be in the NFC hunt, which they have been the past few years. But can they get over the hump? Like I said, can they make it past the hurdles? Obviously, you got the Eagles, which I would say the Eagles kind of are looking. I thought they would dominate more last game because they had the Chiefs number in the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are kind of stalling right now. But it's kind of awesome that they found the end zone as many times as they did. I mean, that's crazy. 52 points. You don't really see that too often in an NFL game. And I would still say that Caleb Williams was a good pick. He's doing good. He's doing his part. But the Bears, they got to figure it out. They're 0-2 right now. It's still early in the year, but it doesn't look good for them. Their offense seems to be well, but it looks like obviously their defense needs to work it out. So that remains to be seen. Hopefully Detroit can keep this momentum going and be a force in the NFC. Hopefully they can get past people like the Eagles or even, the Commanders. That was really who knocked them out last year, But regardless of how good the Commanders are, it just seems like when it's really time to advance, Detroit comes up short. So will this be their year? Is this week 2 statement against Chicago? Is that like a statement where, okay, we're going to do this consistently, maybe not put up 52 points, but we're going to dominate the league? I mean, there's so many questions this year about all these teams that were good last year, and we're going to watch it play out in real time. Um, I think they do have a good shot if Campbell cannot gamble as much, and if Goff can stay consistent. It looks like the strongest team is the Eagles, and they haven't been as dominant the past two games yet. I know it's still early, but they haven't been as dominant as we expected it. But they're winning, so would it be an NFC showdown, Eagles versus Lions championship? We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, I want my Commanders to be in it, but we got a lot of holes on defense, so that remains to be seen. But the biggest factor in the NFC, in my opinion, right now, is the Green Bay Packers. So the Lions, the Eagles, the Cowboys, even the Commanders. I mean, we got whooped, but we have to go through Green Bay. If everybody can stay healthy, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So can all the other NFC teams kind of catch up or be a challenge to them? That remains to be seen. All right. So now we got the G-men. Let's see. Okay. This was another. Hold on, wrong one. Where are my man? This damn Stream Deck is not as easy as it looks. There we go. This was a crazy game. I mean, Russell Wilson showed out, but of course, they lost the game at the last second. Russ always does this, and I even said that last week. He puts up crazy numbers. He makes big runs, but then he turns the ball over. I think he threw a last-minute interception. Let me see. Let me pull up my notes. Okay. Anyway, let me see. What I'm saying is he had a crazy offensive output, but came up short in the end as usual. That was a wild game in overtime, and they had an interesting stat with the kicker. I think he was the first player in NFL history to score the tying field goal with 0 left in the fourth quarter, and then the game-winning field goal with 0 left in overtime. Very entertaining game. It looks like Dallas does have the offensive firepower. It's just a matter of if they can be consistent and if their defense can hold them. I honestly wasn't expecting the Giants to score this much, and Dallas gave up that many points to them. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, 37 points to an offense trying to find themselves and a kind of regressing Russell. Dallas still has some work to do if they want to compete with the Green Bays and the Philadelphias and the Lions. As I always say, that remains to be seen. All right. All right, who do we got next? We got the Eagles and the Chiefs. This was a low-scoring game. I mean, maybe it was naive of me, but I kind of was looking for a Super Bowl repeat. I think I just maybe think that the Chiefs were so focused on not letting that happen again, and their defense, did kind of contain the Eagles a little bit, but when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, those guys have shown time and time again that they can come through in clutch moments. But the numbers look pretty pedestrian. Patrick Mahomes, it just looks like what it boils down with the Chiefs is they don't really have anything going for them on offense or defense, and now they're just literally relying on Patrick Mahomes to play hero ball. He had a costly interception, and he's been running a lot, and it's like when he listen, he is a game changer. He is a leader. In my opinion, he's still the best quarterback in the league, but he still needs a well-rounded team, and it just seems like they kind of contain the Eagles a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much Patrick Mahomes and everyone else just piggybacking off of him. We need more of a stronger defense, and we need the receivers to step up for Pat so he isn't scrambling all the time. And it's interesting seeing the Chiefs go through these motions because the formula has always been strong defense and just rely on Pat. But now that the Chiefs don't really have that, and Kelce is not really the go-to like he's supposed to be, the Chiefs are going to be struggling for a while now. I don't think I still think they're going to go to the playoffs, and maybe if they make it, they can make a good run. But I just the way they've been acting, the way they've been playing lately, I don't know if they can really get past the Bills or the Ravens, which those guys are always in the mix. And the Chiefs have always been able to come out on top, but it might not be the case this year if they continue to go this route. So the defense needs to get better, and the receivers need to step it up more for Pat. And Kelce needs to. Kelce's at the end of his career, so we don't know what to really expect from him. But really, it's all about Spagnuolo and getting the Chiefs back into the top 10 of defense if they really want to advance in the AFC. All right, we got the Pats and the Dolphins. This was a good offensive game, very entertaining. Not a lot of rushing yards. Tua did his part. I gave him a lot of flack last week, but it was a good game. It's just that the Dolphins haven't really figured it out yet. And I got to update the record on the screen. I think the Dolphins are 0-2 now. It was a good game. Drake May did his thing, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, plus 1 rushing touchdown. He did his thing. But Tua did his thing too. He had 315 yards, 2 touchdowns. Finally, as I mentioned last week, Hill and Waddle needed to really get in the game, and they have a really talented receiving core, and that's why I kind of gave Tua flack. I'm like, okay, you got really good receivers. It shouldn't be that hard to get them in the mix, and he did this year. He did this game. What was it? Like I said, 315, two touchdowns, and he spread the ball evenly. He had another receiver, Devon Achane. He got a touchdown. So if their offense can play like this, they can make some noise in the AFC. I don't see them, even making the playoffs, but they can turn it around and keep everybody in place and get some defense going. But like I said, I think McDaniels is on his way out. It just seems like they're always one step behind, and they just can't make a deep push. So, hopefully he makes it to the end of the season. But I'm going to tell you right now, if they lose 4 or 5 more games, whether consecutive or not, he's going to be out of there. That's my prediction. So, but from Tua's standpoint, he has to consistently play like this because he might be in jeopardy also. So, because remember when Daniels came along, he was the only one that knew how to utilize Tua. Tua is not your traditional quarterback. Your Joe Burrows, your Josh Allens, even Lamar. Lamar is developed into a great passer, which Tua is a great passer too, but he's not consistent. So, he has to play consistent in the defense has to do a little bit better. But if they keep losing, I don't know if McDaniels is going to make it this season. So keep an eye on that. All right. So who do we got? We got the 49ers. And I don't know if you guys remember my last episode. I was definitely torn between who to pick. I knew it would be a close game. It was very evenly matched. And it ended up being that, pretty average passing day for the Saints, but they did good on the ground. They got 121 yards. And surprised that Mac Jones, he did really good. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Christian McCaffrey came back in the mix. He had over 100 yards. But the Saints, their quarterback Spencer, he threw 3 touchdowns also. So both offense, they did good. And you can't really throw their defense under the bus. They kept each team under 4 touchdowns. I don't see either of these teams going too far. Oh, there's my alarm. Alexa, turn off the alarm. I don't see I don't see these teams going that far, especially as far as like the NFC, how with Green Bay and Philadelphia and even Dallas and the Commanders doing what they're doing. I think maybe the 49ers might kind of squeak in the playoffs, but the Saints, they got a lot of work to do. But I think Rattler's a good quarterback. He can get them in the playoffs eventually if they build around it. Because like I said, the defense did okay. The offense did good. They just got to do a little bit better. They're kind of in the middle of the pack right now. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But, hey, the 49ers are off to 2-0. So, they're doing good. That maybe if they can keep this momentum going. All right. They could do something. All right, who do we got next? Oops, wrong one. We got the Broncos and the Colts. Hold on. Let's see. Just trying to pull up my notes. I'm gonna get better next week for sure. I'm getting better and better by the week, y'all. I just got a ton of notes. I just got to organize it. All right, so this was another very entertaining game. Bo Nix threw 4 touchdown passes. Daniel Jones did their thing for the Colts, but it was a very interesting thing. And I know I got the score wrong on there. The Colts won by 1 point due to the missed field goal. Will Lutz missed that field goal and pretty much, gave the game away. That was Denver's game to be had. But you can sense a little bit of tension between Bo Nix and Sean Payton. He's still performing well, 206 yards, 4 touchdown passes. But at the end of the day, Jones and Taylor, they moved the ball in crucial moments. And surprisingly, the Colts are 2-0. Not too much to read into that, though. Not to talk bad about Jones, but he might get them into the playoffs, but, we've seen what he can do when things get tough. And I just don't see him taking them on a deep run. Might be a wild card between them and, maybe the Dolphins, if that. But they could definitely make it to the playoffs. They're doing good. It's only 2 weeks. If Jones can keep this up consistently, they could go pretty far. Not far, but they could make it to the wild card. I just think the AFC is just too stacked, and it would take Jones to constantly throw 4 touchdowns a game, and the Colts defense to hold everything together for them to, be able to compete with the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons. But Joe Burrow is going to be out for 3 months, so if Jones can play consistently, maybe he could squeeze in there, because I actually thought that this year the Bengals would make a playoff run, but with Joe hurt, it's going to be tough. And their defense has always been questionable, but this isn't about the Bengals. This is about the Colts and the Broncos. The Broncos, they got some offensive firepower with Nix at the helm. He's a good quarterback, but they just seem to not have it all together yet. And it sounds like they might be another wild card team as well. These are my early predictions. That's all we could do with 2 games. So, all right, who do we got? We got the Panthers. All right. The Panthers and the Cardinals. This was pretty much expected. Kyler Murray did good. He did all right. 220 passing yards. Both teams definitely needs to get their rushing a little bit more potent because you're not gonna win any games getting under 100 yards rushing. But it was pretty competitive. Let me see. They got some first downs for sure. The Panthers. They got some good passing yards. Bryce Young. I feel like he's finding his stride. Let me see. But at the end of the day, it's still the Panthers. Let me see. He threw 3 touchdown passes, and only 1 interception. So Bryce Young is he might not be the problem with the Panthers. I knew he was a first round pick. I didn't think he was that great, but when they benched him last year, I knew it wasn't the issue. It's a bigger issue, and that's the Panthers. So 328, 2 touchdown passes. Kyler Murray's Kyler Murray. I think he can have bursts of productivity, but in the long run, I don't think he's a sustainable QB for that franchise. From what I've seen so far, and he's been around for a few years now. They got to get it together. They invested a lot of money in him. But as far as the Panthers go, Bryce Young, if he can consistently play well, that'll kind of take the pressure off the Panthers to worry about their quarterback, and maybe they can put other pieces around him. Get better defense, get better playmakers on offense, and we'll see how that goes. But the Panthers, they've been bad for a while, so it just seems like the Panthers and the Cardinals, they're going to be at the bottom half of the league, which is kind of the norm. So again, it's only week 2. Let me see. It's only week 2. The Panthers down. They're already down 2-0, and I know the Cardinals are up. I'm sorry, the Panthers are down 0-2, and I know the Cardinals are up 2-0. But as far as their record, but I just need to see more consistency from them if I want to crown them a playoff team. All right. And now we got the Falcons. That was a pretty good game. Let me pull it up here. The Falcons versus the Vikings. It was competitive. Let me see. Let me pull up my notes here. It was really like a defensive game for both teams. The passing was pretty pedestrian. But the Falcons defense, they got 6 sacks on J.J. McCarthy, forced 3 turnovers, and kept Minnesota inside the 20 almost all game. And what really carried the Falcons was Bijan Robinson. He had 143 rushing yards. As you can see in the chart, they dominated in rushing, and that's what kept them in the game. Penix is still a good QB, but at the end of the day, we need more out of the Falcons as a whole. And with the Vikings, they have a good team, but I don't know about McCarthy, to be honest. He's still a young QB, still competitive. He did well the week before, but are you going to get this consistently out of him? I mean, the Falcons gave him a lot of problems, and I feel like he didn't handle himself under pressure the way he could have. But I understand the Vikings are desperate for that guy, for their quarterback to be that guy, which is why they traded away Darnold, because remember they had, I think, the best record last year, only to get crushed in the playoffs, and they did believe it was because of Darnold. But with the same kind of team they have this year, do you think if they had a great record and they go to the playoffs, would McCarthy be the one to get them over the hump? I don't think so, but that remains to be seen. And the Falcons, I think Penix is a good quarterback, but we need more consistency from that team as a whole. I don't know if Penix will be that guy to take them deep in the playoffs either. It remains to be seen, as I always say. So, that's my analysis for week 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll come back tomorrow with more game analysis, and hopefully be, getting better every week. And hold on, I think I forgot about the. We don't have the Bengals on here. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get the Bengals slide, so I'll put that up tomorrow on tomorrow's stream after the Monday night game. And we definitely have to talk about Joe Burrow. He is always hurt. Joe Burrow is always hurt. Top tier quarterback, 100%. He could be the best in the league at any given year, but he's not healthy. He has gotten injured every other year, it seems like. So I don't know what the Bengals are going to do. They put a lot of money in this guy. He's too good of a talent to pass up. But it's just crazy that he's going to be out for 3 months now. So if the Bengals can hold on until he comes back and he can give them a late season push, that'd be cool. But, man, Cool Joe is out again. He needs surgery on his toe. So that's not good. That's not good at all for the Bengals. They just can't. It's always one thing after another. They have the best quarterback. Oh, their defense is bad. Oh, their quarterback is out. They have absolutely no chance at anything. So they need to make some changes in there with management, with the coaches, because without Burrow, we don't expect them to go far. But with Burrow, it shouldn't just be all on him. They need a more well-rounded team. So very unfortunate for Cool Joe. Get well soon, and we'll see how that goes. All right, peace, y'all. Have a good week.